All right. Thank you for joining the breakdown. Holy, what is it? Why does it say 12:15? All right, cool. 12:15. That was the starting time. Um, Again, appreciate everybody joining. I'm a little bit flustered. Look at this. I'm a little bit flustered here. Man, I hate when I hate when the software just doesn't work, man. They really need to do better, man. They need to do better. Allow me to come into my office and just click live and not have me go through like 19 different fucking steps to activate this on all the channels. We are on Rumble, YouTube, X formerly known as Twitter, We're getting on TikTok. We're getting on Instagram. We're just trying to figure out this API shit. But, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go live right away. We're not going into my monologue. No monologue today. We go straight right into it. We have Charles from Cardano here. Let me bring him right in. Charles, God damn it, look at this. I'm trying to bring in him. Charles, how's it going?
There we go, David.
You don't understand. I've been like, I don't know if you see me from the back as you were waiting in the green room. I'm going back and forth on 3 computers to try to get this shit to finally go live. But it's nice to have you here as always. Let me just remind you, studio audience, Charles is on here every other week as we discuss topics on Thursday. Today we're doing it at 12, obviously, but it's usually at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Charles, let's get right to it. Holy shit. Did you read the news yesterday?
What's going on in the news yesterday?
Well, yesterday, news came out. The FBI went ahead and created a cryptocurrency.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. And they exposed all the pump and dumps and market manipulation. What were we talking about? Ponzonomics, man.
So that was, it's funny, the vibe of crypto was very jittery. Like I came out, I'm like, if you've done nothing wrong, if you've come here as a market participant, if you've been building correctly, if you haven't taken any shortcuts, you should have never, or you should never be nervous. I mean, like, what do you have to be scared of? So, I mean, I got to say, they launched their token. They went after, obviously, the MMs here, the market makers. I know that, I believe it's 3 to 4 that were taken down. I haven't really jumped into it, but I believe it's 3 to 4, 18 individuals in total.
Quant, CLS, were the guys, but it wasn't like real guys like GSR or Jane Street or any of those guys.
So what do you make of this? Like, I mean, it's shocking that I was on Spaces last night and people were surprised that the FBI is here or any 3-letter agency is here. I'm like, they've been here since almost the beginning of crypto and its ecosystem. Like, you're not shocked, are you?
No. I mean, the thing about it is a crime is a crime, and you don't need any special new laws when fraud is evident. And it doesn't matter if you're trying to pump Nike stock or if you're trying to pump Microsoft stock or pump a cryptocurrency with the intent of creating exit liquidity with a scam against retail investors. It's a crime. So the FBI, the DOJ, the SEC, these guys, they understand these things really, really well. They know insider trading. They know market manipulation. They have specialized software that they use for it on a pretty regular basis. And, we're so angry with the institutions of America that we've decided as an industry that everybody's evil and incompetent. But the reality is it's a mixed bag. And so there are certainly virtuous, good people who are actually trying to get rid of criminals and people with malicious intent, in addition to the political hack jobs that have infiltrated most of the institutions of the U.S. government. And so this is a case that's pretty clear and cut, where there's groups of people whose only purpose was to manufacture fake liquidity with the expressed intent of pumping tokens and then having insiders dump and exit. And those group of people, they leave fingerprints, they leave signals, and the FBI picked up on it, and they basically created, I think it was Next Fun AI or something like that, as a canary, as a trap, just like an undercover, informant would do something. And they got these guys in and basically shut the cage on them, and they got them dead to rights. So we shouldn't be surprised that they do this, but the challenge is it's like cockroaches. So for everyone you catch, there's 5 or 10 that are behind it, and thus the majority of the regulation of the space really has to happen from self-regulation. So us inoculating ourselves from scams or other things. And the other problem is that crypto has become just overcharged with so much drama and so much negativity. And I think the bear market has just fucked with people's psychology at a level I've never seen before. So everybody's a rug pull. Everybody's a scammer. Everybody's a bad actor. Everybody if you don't instantly get a 10x, has failed to deliver. And there's a fragility about these things, and there's just this 0 to 100 mentality that people have in crypto. Guys, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's not as good as you think it is, but it's not as bad as you think it is. And we got to stop. We just got to chill the fuck out as an industry, and everybody just need to calm down a little bit. Everybody's so high strung right now, and just it's getting crazy out there. And what it is it's preventing us from growing, because why would any reasonable neutral person who has yet to come into crypto walk into a ball of just why would you do that? Why would you do that? It's like, listen, you don't want to do that.
And I agree. I mean, like, you imagine Elon. Elon popped into my head. You imagine Elon. He builds out Tesla, SpaceX. You imagine if he tries to attempt to build it in Web3. I mean, they will crucify him. Like, they would be pushing him. Well, what do you mean there's a delay in the rockets? I mean, like, that. My biggest gripe with the space has always been, for the last few years, is I remember when they attacked you.
Right.
And I took the unpopular position of saying, guys, like, he's building a platform. Like, he is building a serious blockchain. If there needs to be, because you had a delay a few times, I'm like, if there needs to be a delay, like, why would somebody come out with something that doesn't work and then have to go through oh, look, there's a bug here, it's not working. And now you're trying your hardest to fix it on the fly. No, we have to give our innovators time to actually build this stuff out. If it means you're going to delay it for the next year, I'm fine with it as long as it comes out working. Whereas you have half these developers that are listening to the crowd, rushing their products out, and they go straight to shit. So, like, I agree with you, Charles, on that. And this has probably been the worst bear market I've experienced. People have come out of here psychologically fucked. Everything's a scam. Yeah. Everybody's a scammer. Everybody's a grifter. Everybody's bad. Nobody's good. Nobody's good. It's almost like somebody's waiting for your downfall.
Yeah, it's beyond. It's just like, I'll give you a little example. So, the North Carolina, the hurricane came through, and it really hurt a lot of people. I have family in North Carolina and a lot of friends in North Carolina. Some of our employees are in North Carolina. So some of our Cardano people said, hey, it'd be really cool if we could figure out a way to do something for people. So I called up my Blackhawk pilots and I said, hey, is there a need for the Blackhawk in our crew over in North Carolina? So they called a few people. They said, 100%. Come out here, we'll figure the shit out. So they flew out, they got to North Carolina today, and from Sunday they've been running ops. They've delivered thousands of tons of supplies and water, hundreds of people. They even flew Billy Graham's grandson for Samaritan's Purse. Okay, so they've been all around the whole state. So I've been providing some updates because these pilots are working like basically 24/7. They're going into some very dangerous situations, flooded areas, down power lines, a lot of environmental toxins. It's Appalachia, so there's like meth labs up there that are exploded and shit like that. It's not exactly a good situation to be in. So then you have all these people on Twitter saying he's flexing his helicopter and showing off his things. It's like, just go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Honestly, go fuck yourself. We're just out there trying to help some people. And what am I supposed to do? Nothing. And then these pilots are going into harm's way and they're in a lot of danger, and we're just showing some love and support and acknowledgement for it. But apparently that's a flex now. That's where the psychology of people's at. It's impossible for them to look at something from a positive perspective. Everything is cynical and negative. Everything is the least generous interpretation possible. And it's getting to a point where it's getting really hard to even have conversations or interact with people. It's really hard to share news. Every news item is political. Every news item is jaded. Everything is, well, what's the scandal behind this? These types of things. And I've been in the industry for 14 years. I've been in Cardano for 9 years. Every single thing I do, they say, when is the rug pull? And it's getting tiring, Dave. It's just getting really tiring. It's getting to a point where you just don't want to engage anymore, interact. But then when you don't engage and interact, then you've rug pulled everybody.
Right.
I just want to do work. I just want to build shit and get things done, and then they just lie. And there's no accountability, because when people lie, you call them out on it and they say, how dare you punch down? how dare you call us out? Oh, you're just mobbing us. You're calling all the disagreements FUD. It's like, it's a lie when you say one transaction per block. It's just a fact. It's a lie when you say everything we've done is not there. It's a lie when you say there's 300 people using Cardano. Go fuck yourself. There's not. It's an ecosystem, and we're trying to work with people. Then when you go and try to work with people like the DREC Alliance, we start working with Hedera Hashgraph and Ripple and Algorand. They criticize that. You go and say, hey, let's go launch Midnight and bring a whole bunch of blockchains together. Oh, that's the rug pull. There's something psychologically wrong here. I'm trying to figure it out because it's never been this unhealthy in all the years that I've been in the cryptocurrency space. And we got to figure this out because no one's going to join. We're going to kill ourselves as an industry if we keep going down this road.
Oh, I think the OGs retired. I really like. I heard like a few OGs in the space. And they're like, "Well, we retired. Like, we don't need to do anything anymore." And so I think now you have the new graduates of 2021
Mm-hmm.
that are here. They don't understand crypto. They don't understand how blockchain works. They're only here for money goes up, right? Like one number go up kind of stuff. And they're, if one person says Cardano sucks, they don't have the ability to actually look into Cardano and see how Cardano has been built out. They're not even looking at your history of how much shit you've done for the crypto space. They're just going with what's trending because that'll give them more likes and retweets. So
Right.
it's all about clout, right? Fuck burying innocent people. Let's just go out there on social media. Let me get my 100 likes because this is the cool shit to go ahead and talk about. Burying somebody who has dedicated their entire lives not to just building out Cardano, but helping with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and amongst other things, building in this space, actually building. I agree with you, Charles. I don't even know the solution. There is no solution, right? In a sense, because if we talk about decentralization, air quote, right, then
Right.
everybody's allowed to come in here and participate, right?
Right.
But what we need to do is, as OGs here, whether you've been here 5 years, because I think even 1 year, you can probably pass as an OG, surviving a bear market here. I mean, automatically you become a veteran. It's like
Right.
fucking dog years, right? But people with a loud platform, with a loud voice, get out there. And I keep saying this: get out there, stop the FUD, man. You literally have the platforms to say, "Yo, shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
Like that's not the truth. Stop burying good people because we're going to lose all our innovators and we'll be left with nothing. And we're going to take 3 steps backwards.
Right.
Okay. And we already have everybody attacking us. I just started off the news segment here with the FBI creating their own token to go after people, deservingly so, by the way.
Right.
Deservingly so. Like if you're doing nefarious things here, you deserve to go ahead and get clapped. The law applies here. I don't know, like in Web3 also, Charles, it's really weird. They think like the outside laws, okay? They think like the FBI, the CIA, whatever. They don't belong here. This is no. The rules still apply. If you are in the United States of America or any country that has
Right.
rules and regulations, they still apply here. You can't
Right.
steal from people.
Right.
You can't.
You
Okay?
can't. And also, why would we want to live in a world with no rules and no social constructs that benefit us, and everything is just cultural relativism and just steal and fuck everybody over? I didn't sign up for this. I really
Yeah.
didn't. And I didn't sign up for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of abuse and no generous interpretations of anything I do. No one can live in a situation where every single thing you say and do lives under scrutiny. Every time you're mentioned, there's 50 people that show up and brutally criticize you. It
Yeah.
has to change. It has to stop. And I'm a diverse guy. I have businesses all across the place. Like I do the glow in dark plants and I do the regenerative medicine. We're just about ready to start an FDA trial with our stem cells and hyperbarics. And I don't have to be in the cryptocurrency space.
Yeah.
And I've earned the right not to be. After 9 years on Cardano and 14 years in the industry, I've earned my money. It's not a rug pull. I fucking built half this goddamn industry.
Yeah.
There's not a damn thing I haven't touched, from Bitcoin and being the founding chairman of the Bitcoin Foundation's education committee to Ethereum. Just won a lifetime achievement award from the Swiss government for founding Ethereum, to Cardano and building Cardano, the largest DAO in the entire industry. Okay. So I'm here because I choose to be here. I earned my money. I was there at 2.5-cent ADA, guys. And I was there at $3 ADA, and I'm still here at 33-cent ADA. And I was here before ADA existed. So if I choose to be here in the industry, it's because I want to be here in the industry. So do I want to be in an industry where every single day there's brutal criticism, there's brutal attacks, and my character, my educational credentials, my intelligence, my honesty, my integrity is being attacked? What are you trying to accomplish with all of this? And where do you go from here? You think the next person that comes in is going to be so tolerant of it and nicer? No, you're just going to get vacuous, empty people who achieve and accomplish nothing. So you get what you want. And what'll end up happening is that we just turn off and we become numb and we don't interact with people anymore. So I just don't understand what the end goal of all of this insanity is. It's become so profoundly toxic. And it's getting worse and worse, and it's getting bizarre and bizarre. We need to stop. We need to reset, and people need to chill the fuck out, man. They really do. They just need to calm the fuck down. Not everybody here is trying to steal from you. Not everything is a shitcoin. Not everything that you disagree with is evil. Not every person in this industry is trying to hurt you or rob from you. There are people in the industry trying to build real things and do real things and help people. Next week, I'm going down to Argentina. There are 40 million Argentinians. We're trying to figure out how to get Argentina into the blockchain industry. I don't particularly care what blockchain technology they use. I just want them in the industry because that's what I signed up for 14 years ago. Now, I'll make the case that Midnight, Cardano, and Prism and the other technologies are the best. But you know what? Let them make that decision because they're a sovereign nation. And it's a net win for us as an industry for what they do and what they decide. We're still in Africa, people. We're in Kenya right now. We've deployed $5 million worth of loans using RealFi. My company that I started was John O'Connor. We took everything we learned from Ethiopia, all the identity systems, all the credit scoring, all of the infrastructure, and the team, and we moved it into Kenya to do these types of things. But they're unable to see this, and they're unable to acknowledge this, and it's all a lie. And it's all bad. And if we don't get instant results now, it must be wrong, and we must be horrible human beings. My God, banking the unbanked is a bad goal in life? Who the fuck are you people? It's getting so bad, man. It really is. And we just got to figure this out. We got to figure out a reset as an industry. And all the project founders got to, you are the problem if your community is doing this. Don't fucking say, oh, well, I don't know, man. It's just my community. You own your community if you started this stuff. They're a reflection of you. They're a reflection of your values. They're a reflection of your mindset. There's things I must have done wrong in the Cardano community if they're doing this to other people. And yes, Brad and Chris and Ripple, if your guys are doing this to people, there's things you must have done wrong. And Vitalik, there's things you must have been wrong. If Ethereum is doing this to people, and Adam Back and the rest of the gang of Bitcoin, things you've done wrong. Admit it. Let's all just chill out and let's all just reset and let's get people back to normal and let's try to figure out how to love each other, work together, and have some empathy and stop calling people evil and criminals. Or else, you know what? There's no reason for anybody to be in this space. And that's from the OG of OGs. There's no reason to stay. There's no reason to build in this space. There's no core principles uniting people. When I signed up for Bitcoin, it was fuck the banks. We're going to change the world. We're going to rebuild everything. We had Satoshi put into the blockchain something for the front page of the Times, talking about the chancellor and the bank bailouts. And now everybody's praising BlackRock and Mike Saylor coming in and buying a whole bunch of shit. Okay. Really, that's what we signed up for as an industry, to just gargle the balls of BlackRock. That's what we're doing. Come on, guys, get your core back, get your integrity back. Let's reset the whole thing and let's ask ourselves, why are we here? Why is this technology special? And why does this matter? And why are people devoting their lives to it? Why are people working really hard with it? And if you can't get on that program, then I just don't have time for you anymore. And we're going to just change the whole communication channels and do something else.
No, more collaborations would be nice to show unity. You can have healthy competitions. Like, a lot of people are treating this as a fucking sporting event. It's crazy. This is not a sporting event. This is a chance for us to go ahead and escape the system. I keep saying this. I didn't join I didn't come into this industry looking to fight with anybody. I'm particularly excited about the innovations that are being taken place here. You know, I'm excited about what you've been able to go ahead and do, build out. You
Yeah.
know, you don't have to like Cardano, man. You don't have to like Cardano, but you can sit back and appreciate the work that has been done on Cardano. You know, like a lot of people tell me, "Oh, you're paid by Cardano." I'm like, "No, I'm just interested that a founder is willing to come on and shoot the shit and actually talk about the goddamn platform without fucking scripted fucking notes on the
Right.
side." I'm bored. Charles, I'm telling you right now, I'm tired of these industry heads coming to me wanting to come on the fucking show, but they're telling me I need to go and deliver them questions so they can pre-examine them. Fuck you. I don't run a show like
Yeah.
that.
We
I
just
want to.
show up and shoot the shit, man. We've never had a pre-scripted anything.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong with my assessment, I'm sure you'll be able to go ahead and explain to me why I'm wrong. You'll explain to
Right.
over 50 or 60,000 people right now live why Cardano fits in our space. But the shit that I really, you know what, guys, I'm telling you right now, you can fucking clip this up. It's utter bullshit, man. I agree with Charles at this point, man. It's come together. Let's build, okay? Let's build. Volunteer, man. Get into volunteering. Work alongside a fucking platform. Start to understand what blockchain is really about. 5 years from now, these Web2 companies, these Fortune 500 companies, if they're not already here, they're looking to get in.
Right.
Build up a resume. Go to them, be advisors, bring them into this space. This toxicity shit, the PvP aspect of this space, Charles, is what's killing everything. People are so hungry for money that they will do everything possible to put out shit that is not true. I would just tell you this, though. You have 90% to 95% of people that do support you, Charles. There are people
Right.
that do support you. Just, you got to remind yourself, the people that support you have a job, they have families, they don't have time to go on social media and
Yeah.
defend you 24 hours a day. The 5% that live in their grandmother's basements, okay? Larry, the 52-year-old man that still lives with his grandma and eats that chunky soup, okay, and puts up that dial-up modem, he's getting up every single morning with a poster of Charles, right? Okay, he has a poster of you, and he's like, "I'm going to fuck up Charles's day."
Right.
Now, it really is up to us to, when we come onto the social media platforms. And I said, you said it yourself. You don't have to be here. You've done everything possible in the last 14 years to help build out this entire economy, and I thank you for that. And I hope more people appreciate you and the others that have put in their fucking time traveling. Guys, Charles goes to he goes to Capitol Hill, fucking advocating for fucking Bitcoin, for blockchain in general. Okay? Trying to get regulations in here that are fair for us. You are coming after people that are actually trying to push the industry forward. You don't have to like anybody.
Right.
But you can appreciate people doing the fucking grassroots marketing work to try to go ahead and take our industry to the next level. Did you watch that, by the way? Did you watch the HBO documentary of them uncovering who Satoshi is?
Peter Todd. I know Peter Todd. He is not Satoshi Nakamoto.
Are you sure?
100%.
Are you sure? Are you going against HBO's investigation? I mean, they're pretty good, and I'm being so sarcastic on that.
Oh my Lord. Well, they never asked me, so I had this conversation with Lex Friedman and a lot of other people. He said, "Well, who do you think Satoshi is?" And I said, "It's Adam Back." Yeah,
You think so?
he's the Occam's razor candidate. It's either him or someone like him, because when you look at the design of Bitcoin, it has fingerprints on it, and those fingerprints are of a very specific kind of person. There's less than maybe 50 or 100 people in the entire world who fit that intersection. So you're looking for somebody who has a strong formal background, mathematics and computer science. So they probably are an academic. You're looking for somebody that was part of the cypherpunk movement. You're looking for somebody who was educated in the UK education system because of the fingerprints in the design of Bitcoin. You're looking for somebody who was familiar with Adam Back's work, because Adam Back created proof of work. You're looking for somebody who wrote Bitcoin on a Windows device and using Microsoft compilers. Adam Back worked for Microsoft. That's where he invented proof of work. And you're looking for somebody who's probably in their late 40s, 50s, somewhere in that age range, to have done all those things and met people like Hal Finney and Nick Szabo and David Chaum and others who all had their role in this. Okay. Well, Adam fits not only all of that, he was gone for the founding years of Bitcoin, and then after Satoshi left, reappeared as Adam Back, and now is in charge of the large blockchain Bitcoin company Blockstream, which has a lot of the core developers, working for him, and his job is to make Bitcoin better. So, he's the simplest possible explanation. And what you would do if you really wanted to find out is there was a paper that's written by the US Army years ago on code stylometry. And you take the original Bitcoin client that was written by Satoshi, and then you'd apply stylometric measures, and then you'd go and take a look at all of the open source repos from the last 25, 30 years and compare them with the code that was written for Bitcoin. And if you put these things together, you can winnow it down. But it certainly wasn't Hal Finney or anything, because the code quality had been better. And Hal had some trouble in the early days when he was mining to get his client working and these other things. And it just would have been built a little differently and a little less rigid than if it was built by somebody else. If it was built by an American, there would have been a different design with Bitcoin Script. Bitcoin Script is based on Forth stack-based assembly, and that came from the UK school of thinking. We think a little differently in America, and how we educate computer science, especially for people who were trained in the 80s and 90s. So, he's the most logical guy. Peter Todd, I've met him a few times. I've hung out with him. He's kind of bright. There's nothing he's ever done in his career to indicate that he fits all those categories, from the understanding of elliptic curve cryptography and being able to actually pick a curve and build all this stuff, to actually designing a programming language from scratch and figuring out how to get that to work, to writing ledger rules, to designing a consensus algorithm and getting all the stuff tuned and so forth. You can kind of see how a guy like Adam Back would have gradually pieced this shit together. So he's at Microsoft and they say, we have a spam problem with email. Oh, okay. Well, what if you have to solve a puzzle for email? So it's hard to solve, but easy to verify. So if I'm sending one email as a user, I don't feel it. But if I'm a spam server spending 1,000 emails, it's computationally too expensive. That was Hashcash, and it became proof of work. Okay, well, he's studying that. Like, how do I design the proof of work puzzle? What should I do? All these pieces together. And then he's reading about all these advancements with DigiCash was David Chaum in the 90s. And he's like, well, that makes sense, but how do I get rid of the middleman? How do I build a decentralized ledger and these things? And there's other stuff in his career which showed he's kind of thinking about UTXO accounting over account model, right? And so he just puts these pieces together, and then he's starting to get clear. And then he starts writing some code. And what is he doing? He's writing code on his Windows laptop and using the Windows tools that he's so familiar with from working at Microsoft Research. And then he's compiling that stuff. And then he's thinking, and then he was a member of the Peer-to-Peer Foundation, and he knows all these guys. So where does the white paper appear? It appears there, right? It just fits all the stuff. And then it's like, well, what would Satoshi do if he was going to dox himself? He'd probably be a Bitcoin core developer. What does Blockstream do? It's like the core development group for Bitcoin.
So you're not Satoshi.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like,
are you Satoshi?
Well, you could see what we do, how I think about a cryptocurrency, because I cover the American school of thought. And so, the way we do formal methods, we wrote it in Haskell, we extended UTXO, we have all these things we do. So we have a radically different viewpoint on how a cryptocurrency should be constructed. And I foundationally disagree with Satoshi on certain things. Like, he has no provision for on-chain governance. There were forum posts that said, keep it simple, keep the protocol very thin, don't bloat it, do it in alternative systems. Whereas I said, you need a thicker protocol with on-chain governance, and it has to be like Peter Suber's design for Nomic. So there's philosophical differences in the design of Cardano from Bitcoin. So, and you see that with a real cryptocurrency founder like Vitalik or myself or anybody who's building something of significance inside the space. Gavin Wood with Polkadot as an example. And they leave DNA in the design of the system, which creates a philosophy, and it crystallizes, and it's really hard to deviate from that DNA. Okay, and where's the DNA from Peter? I've never seen it. And name one project he's done that has like crystallized and it's grown into something and it's demonstrated all this type of stuff. Also, just the collaborative nature. Satoshi was a very easy person to work with for Marty Malmy, who was the first core developer there, or Hal Finney, who was there, or Gavin, or Mike Hearn. I have emails from Mike Hearn that he forwarded me that show him talking to Satoshi years ago about the Java Bitcoin client for a mobile wallet. And this was back in 2009. And Satoshi's excited and he's jubilant and he's happy. He's giving advice back and forth. That's a very collaborative nature. Okay, a person like that is capable of leading an organization. Lo and behold, Adam Back is the CEO of an organization, and he has a cadre of people around him, and he's able to raise capital and get people to work with him, and he has integrity. Well, where's Peter's stuff? It's so, my God, like, how stupid do you have to be to make a documentary like this? It's so far beyond the pale, and it's just an extraordinary thing. There's also a lot of just stuff that you'd have to be very experienced computer scientist to have done, like the base 58 stuff, or these things just where it's just intrinsically obvious. Oh, I need to do this because I need to get rid of characters that are going to be easily confused while you're typing an address. But what's the best way of doing that, or how they did the encodings in Bitcoin, or these types of things. It's just, that's experience. That's not something you can replicate. You're not going to do that as a 20-year-old kid or a 21-year-old kid. You're going to do that as a 40-year-old dude who's been fucked up a few times building projects, and you've collaborated with engineers, and you just know in the back of your head, oh, I need to do that. There was a lot of stuff January 3rd, 2009, that Satoshi got right, absolutely right, in the design of Bitcoin, which is surprising for an open source project. And there were certain things that weren't as good, like, for example, Bitcoin script and the level of expressiveness, which is a strong indication that the training in computer science was more on cryptography and distributed systems and not programming language theory. And lo and behold, there's like Russell O'Connor and these other guys, O'Connor, excuse me, who's at Blockstream, and he's an expert on this stuff. He created Simplicity and these other things, and Adam brought him in to kind of fix some of the problems with Bitcoin script, and they have Jets and these other things that they brought in. So that's what academics do, is that they know like who's good and who's not good, and they bring them into Parrot. We created a very balanced team with Cardano. It was 168 scientists we've co-authored papers with, 223, and a lot of these people are like real experts in their domains. And it took us years to improve on the Bitcoin model. So that shows you how much great knowledge and insights there. And a lot of things we did, we just took ideas that were in the Bitcoin ecosystem, like color coins or UTXO, and we followed them to their logical conclusion. Because you can't upgrade the Bitcoin protocol. You can't put those things in Bitcoin, without waiting 10 years. So we just took it and fixed it, and then extended it and added stuff to its logical conclusion, and brought subject matter experts in who knew how to do it better than the original design. So, HBO, okay. At least they didn't say it was Craig Wright, so there's something there.
I was waiting for them to say, well, it's Craig Wright, and I would have fainted. But should we honor the wishes? Because I think we should, but like, should we honor the wish of Satoshi? I mean, you stated you think it might be Adam Back, but like, should we honor the wish of Satoshi, where he left and he said, I'm done. Here you go, guys. This is your first CTO. You know how the CTO
Right.
meta is out there? This is the original CTO. Here you go, guys. Have fun. Hopefully you guys know what the fuck you're doing, and you can go ahead and make something wonderful out of this thing that I created called Bitcoin. Should we stop the search? Stop the search for whoever Satoshi Nakamoto is. Why do we want to desperately know who this person is? Every single time we find out who a developer of a project is, it usually goes to zero. I'm just saying, I'm not saying Bitcoin would, but it causes turbulence. Why do we want to know?
Yeah, because it's the mystery, right? Who's Kaiser Sose? You got to know the guy, and somehow that will make everything better. It doesn't help Bitcoin, just hurt Bitcoin. The thing is that Satoshi is an identity connected to cryptographic credentials.
Correct.
PGP and also the original key that he has and that the Nakamoto Institute's posted, and also the blocks. So the actual blocks mined and the coins that Satoshi owned.
Yeah.
So if the person who is Satoshi destroyed those cryptographic credentials, Satoshi is dead, because there's no way to definitively prove in a non-reputable, beyond a reasonable doubt way that you're Satoshi Nakamoto. So what you can do is you can look around and say, who would have the knowledge, is the right age, the right facts and circumstances. Code stellometry can give you a fingerprint, which can give a pretty good identity for that stuff. We use it for malware author detection. That's why, like, when the NSA says, hey, the Russian hackers wrote this malware, or Chinese hackers wrote, well, how the fuck do they know? They have stylometric atlases for schools of education, and they kind of know the style that Chinese or Russian or other programmers have, and they can connect them together. So you can do these things, and that's what we call circumstantial evidence. But definitive proof, non-reputable proof, is a digital signature. That's always been the standard. I was in Rwanda many years ago, and Craig Wright was on a panel with me, and I
Oh
threw
my
shade
God.
at him. I threw so much shade at him. I said, I don't have a wheelbarrow full of degrees, but I do know how to use PGP. I do know how to use a digital signature. All he had to do, if he's Satoshi, is sign. That's it. And then it would have been beyond any reasonable person. But he didn't
Correct.
sign, and because he can't, because he didn't have the credentials. So if Adam is this person, I suspect what Adam did was destroy the credentials, because there's too much temptation to resurrect them over time if Bitcoin becomes successful for a Nobel Prize in economics or for the accolades or the money. So you just destroy the keys. And if you've destroyed the keys, then there's no way to prove that you are. So in essence, you have relieved yourself of that identity. And so the founder's wishes will be permanently preserved. No one is capable of being Satoshi. If I had the PGP key, probably what I would have done is just publish it. And then everybody has the private key. And then everybody can be Satoshi, and just make it your farewell message. So then you've basically kind of completely eliminated the possibility of anybody being able to definitively prove they're Satoshi. So effectively, you've
Right.
made it part of the commons, and you can even publish in the Bitcoin blockchain itself, like they did with Bible verses and other such things throughout the years. So it's not a topic I'm particularly interested in. There's been some propaganda. I've been in space 14 years, so people
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
me about it fucking every day. And there's been some propaganda where people, oh, Charles said he was Satoshi, or these types of things. Like, fuck yourself. It's not a valid thing.
If you really wanted to, though, if you were that interested, do you think you can figure out who Satoshi is? Even though you just said Adam Back, right? If you really wanted to, if you were really intrigued by it, would you be able to figure it out?
Well, yeah, you do the stylometric analysis, and then you try to find a fingerprint. So you'd look for some code that Adam was known to have written, and you'd then compare that with the original Bitcoin client. And you'd also compare it with other people that have been alleged to be Satoshi, like Hal Finney, for example, and Mike Hearn, and et cetera. And you just go
Yeah.
down the list, and then you get a pretty good sense from those pairings, whether there's something there. And then, as I mentioned, all the circumstantial evidence. In fact, John Matonis reached out to me many years ago when Craig Wright was first claiming to be Satoshi, and he asked for my advice about it. And I told him all the stuff I told you, and he completely ignored all of it and endorsed Craig Wright. So I was like, okay, John. And John's no longer around in our industry for good reason, I guess. But you could get to a certain point, but unless the keys are there, there's no way of definitively proving. My belief is the keys were destroyed, either because the person who was Satoshi died and probably destroyed the credentials shortly before dying, or it is Adam Back or somebody like that, and they decided when they left to simply destroy the keys and move on. Remember, at the time Satoshi left, Satoshi was getting increasingly worried about WikiLeaks and other things, and also Gavin Andresen visited the CIA and delivered a conference presentation at Langley on Bitcoin. And so Satoshi was starting to feel the little heat and was worried
Yeah.
that continued presence would basically dox him. So the first thing that you would do with an alias, if you feel that the alias is getting too hot, is destroy your association with that alias. And at the time, Bitcoin was practically worthless. All of Satoshi's Bitcoin were worth less than $1 million. There was no liquidity. You couldn't do much with it.
Yeah.
So if you're leaving the ecosystem, you just basically destroy those things, take a time out, and then basically come back maybe when you're interested, but there's no way to link you to that. And Satoshi had great OPSEC. Even the email address got compromised because it was left to expire, and Satoshi's basically there was nothing revealed in that email address. So I don't think anybody can figure it out. The NSA probably does know, and the only reason why is because they've dragnetted everything. So they've done packet replication and they've archived everything in Bluffdale. So somewhere in the guts of all of their archives, if you could connect all those things together with all of the other stuff, you probably could figure out something that would not have been something you could obfuscate unless you go like fucking crazy ninja hacker. There's probably some fingerprints there, but the U.S. government has absolutely no interest in doxing the alias. It would take something at the president level to kind of figure that out.
Welcome to the Breakdown, episode 497, sponsored by Gemini, powered by G Media. Here with Charles, just talking about obviously everything that happened yesterday with, the news that came out with the FBI taking out 18 individuals here in the space, 3 to 4 market makers that were doing shady shit. We're also talking about, guys, it's time to fucking come together, start appreciating things that are being built in this space, period. You don't have to like people, but you can acknowledge. And I don't even know why you can't like somebody, but you can acknowledge that there are people like Charles and other individuals that are building things that 5 years down the line will allow Web 2 to connect with Web 3 and the entire world to be free. That's just my train of thought there. We also just talked about the HBO special that came out and said that Todd was Satoshi, which made me laugh, made a lot of people laugh who's been in the industry for a long time. And Charles just said, well, if he were to put a finger on who might have been Satoshi, Adam Back would be the guy. 2 more topics, because I know you have I know you have a busy schedule. I want to ask you about this. SEC chairman came out and stated that they have done a horrific job with crypto.
Wasn't the chairman, it was the commissioner. The chairman's scary Gary.
Excuse me, commissioner. Yeah. Sorry, Gary. No, but commissioner came out, stated that they did a horrific job with crypto and the way they've come after crypto. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So there are 2 Republican appointees. There's Hester Peirce and then the other one, I forget his name, but both of them have been strong advocates to stop the regulation through enforcement regime. And there are 3 Democrats who are basically running the commission, and the chairman is Gensler, and they see nothing wrong with what they've done. They've not apologized, and Gensler continues to represent crypto as basically a best case scenario, a technological novelty. Worst case is a giant scam for everybody. So I'm very convinced a change of leadership at the presidency is required to correct this wrong. The SEC will not stop its regulations through enforcement. They continue to sue people. OpenSea got a Wells notice, Crypto.com yesterday, Consensus, Binance, Coinbase. And what's so crazy to me is that people are politically on the left. They seem to just be in this both sides are doing it mentality. Well, the Trump administration sued Ripple. Okay, let's follow that thought experiment. How many Wells notices were issued, and what was the position of that administration versus what's happened during the Biden administration? It's an all-of-government approach to hurt crypto, Operation Choke Point 2.0, where they're actively, systematically going through and unbanking as many people as possible. Anti-clarity, where they take things they've already said and said, well, we're not so sure about that anymore. The come and register, but there's no physical way to register. Coinbase is an example of that. The systematic suing of every single liquidity point in America with all of the major exchanges. Not one of them has not received a Wells notice at this point. Going after now the wallets with MetaMask, with its 40 million plus users. And I suspect that the other wallets will be hit as well. And then obfuscating the legislative process, where there's been numerous bipartisan pieces of legislation, like FIT 21, for example, or the repeal of SAB 121, and stopping those from becoming law, stopping those from even being debated on the floor. Guys, That is a radically different thing than serving a Wells notice to Ripple. Okay? That's one thing, and a collection of fraudulent activity and a few fines here and there for like EOS and Tezos and, and these other guys, versus like the whole fucking industry going after these guys brutally. And then they say there's clarity. They say that we're doing everything right. And they say that we're not going after crypto. And then there's a systematic handing of crypto to BlackRock. So the people winning are the people getting the ETFs, who are Wall Street guys and regulated SEC controlled buckets. And everybody else is basically being offshored by this particular administration. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
I don't even know why they run from it. That's their Elizabeth Warren endorsed position as an administration. And Harris says, well, we're going to engage the crypto industry. I say, okay, well, are you going to fire Gary Gensler? Are you going to change the regulation approach? Are you going to acknowledge that Operation Choke Point 2.0 has happened, it's underway, and stop it, and instruct the Treasury Department to stop doing that? What bipartisan legislation are you going to work on? Who in the industry is going to be part of your crypto advisory board? What fundamental rights do cryptocurrency users have? If you say you're going to engage the industry, well, why can't you answer these basic things and take a position on these basic things? No, it's the Nancy Pelosi, we got to vote for the bill to find out what's in it. So you got to vote for Harris to find out what her crypto policy is. But she was the vice president, is the vice president under the current regime that has declared war on crypto. Now, contrast that with the Unity Party, Kennedy and Trump and all these other people, Elon Musk and Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, and Trump is buying things in Bitcoin. He's attended Bitcoin conferences. He's already taken a position on a lot of things I've mentioned. He's got a crypto advisory group that he's putting together, and they're actively talking to people in the industry for this. He's inviting crypto people to talk to him on a regular basis. He's getting crypto advice from people like Vivek Ramaswamy, who's already written a crypto Bill of Rights, and Elon Musk, who obviously is a big crypto proponent. Look at
JD Vance.
JD Vance is another big crypto component, as an example. Okay, he's launching an NFT project. I mean, it's like, a DeFi project, World Liberty Finance, with his kids. So, man, it's a little different, and you can't possibly say that they're all just going to be the same and everything's there. If the Republicans win the Senate back, Tim Scott will likely be the chair of the Banking Committee, which means Elizabeth Warren will no longer be able to obstruct the legislative process. He will likely create a subcommittee and put Lummis in charge of it for cryptocurrency regulation, which means that our industry will have a direct line of contact to McHenry on the Congress side and Scott on the Senate side to actually write a bill and get everybody together. And the president has already said he would sign that bill, who also said he's going to pardon Ross Ulbricht and bring him home. The other administration will leave him in prison for the rest of his life. I'm sorry, these are clear-cut things that differentiate both sides. I don't care whether you're a liberal or a conservative. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just talking strictly from a crypto perspective. This is the reality for us as an industry. Now, we as an industry have tried to talk to the Democrats. We really have. Mark Cuban has, Reid Hoffman has, Ro Khanna has, Senator Wyden has. And this particular administration not only doesn't want to talk to, they've already taken a position that they're protecting people by doing what they're doing. So I don't believe they're going to change their approach. I just really don't. Also, their philosophy of, well, think of their political philosophy. You got Waltz going on television saying we need to regulate speech because free speech is dangerous. So wouldn't that then translate to free economics, economic agency, unrestricted is dangerous? Philosophically speaking, they cannot be pro-crypto. It's not possible, because pro-crypto means you can be your own bank. Pro-crypto means you can be your own voice. You have free speech. You have free expression. And if you're a political party that says that's dangerous, that's racist, that leads to extremism, there's never going to be a reconciliation there. You're selling the Bible to Buddhists. It's a completely different world for these guys. It's just a fundamentally different worldview, and they're not going to be interoperable or compatible with each other. So that's the other issue here, is that whether they say they're engaging or not, they've never actually gone on position of what the engagement means. They're currently responsible for this brutal, horrible crackdown that the government has had, and they don't really explain how their philosophy is going to be compatible with this. We will get a CBDC and the end of privacy in America under the Harris administration. That's their version of, we're going to embrace crypto. And it's going to be controlled by the private industry through gigantic transnational organizations like BlackRock and the current banking people like JP Morgan. So they're very excited. And if you look at their donations, 95% to Harris. They're just flooding them with cash. So they've already made their decision. So if you want multinational giant companies that are currently responsible for the high price of rent and inflation in America and the endless wars, you have your candidate. Okay. And that candidate's there. If you want something different, the Unity Party ticket looks like it's actually going to get something done. And it's not Trump anymore, guys. It really isn't. It's Trump and Musk and Kennedy and Gabbard and a whole bunch of other people. I was never a Trump guy. I endorsed Robert Kennedy. But this is something very different. And it's a coalition that has come together for basically saying America's at a precipice and we're falling apart, and things are getting really bad and people are getting really angry. And crypto is just a microcosm of a larger macrocosm of a $35 trillion national debt, a foreign policy that's unconstrained and unrestricted, wars everywhere. We're heading towards World War III. The fact that 60% of America has a chronic ailment or a mental illness, the fact that people can't afford their rent, they can't afford to go to the supermarket. It's getting harder and harder to have a meaningful job. And we're staring down the train of AI, which is going to take 40 million jobs from knowledge workers and blue collar workers by 2035 to 2040 as humanoid robots turn on that Tesla's going to be making in mass. And, OpenAI future models basically replace people. So, and it's the largest wealth transfer in human history from the poor to the rich. And we'll have a trillionaire class, and everybody else will be super poor. And the trillionaires own all the robots and the AI models. That's what we're staring down. Okay. And this current political party that's in charge, that's been in charge for 12 of the last 16 years in America, 12 of the last 16 years. Okay. So if you look at 16 years, it's been Obama, Trump, Biden. 12 of those last 16 have been them. So the majority of the current bureaucracy, the majority of the current decisions, 3/4 of the time have been on their side of the aisle, and they're asking for another sign up. And all their donors are mega national corporations who are getting massive sums of money, whether it be the pharmaceutical industry, the banking industry, the media industrial complex, which edits the interviews so that they look nicer. And the Unity Party is a bunch of people saying, this will lead to disaster for America and enslavement in America. So I couldn't give a shit about Trump. What I can say, though, is that political movement has to win, or else America is going to be enslaved by a philosophy that's very dystopian. And crypto is a microcosm of it. Crypto policy is in the crossroads of all this stuff. It shouldn't be partisan, should be bipartisan. Who wouldn't want economic agency for those who don't have it? Who wouldn't want freedom for those who don't have it? But apparently they don't want this. And they've spent 3.5 years trying to put us all in prison and trying to destroy our industry. And then we're shoveled this bullshit like, oh, there's no differences between the two. And Harris will be pro-crypto too. And we'll give you a glass of ice water. No, fuck you. We're done with this crap. We just want our freedom back as an industry. And we just also want a country that doesn't lie to us anymore. God damn it. And we want institutions that are held accountable and actually real investigations into things. We're so low on trust that people don't even know what to believe with FEMA in North Carolina and Florida. They're like, well, is FEMA helping? Are they not helping? Are they shooting people? Are they stopping supply? I don't know. Nobody knows in America. I have a helicopter out there helping people. I don't even know, because I hear so much stuff and there's so little trust that people have left in society. So, God damn it, we just need a reset. We have to stop and we have to reset, and we have to actually start getting back to healing people, make people healthy again. Let's make our institutions great again, and let's get America back on track. God damn it.
Ladies and gentlemen, That is Charles, man. Charles, honestly, I'm reading some of the comments. They're like human computer at work, man, and it is true, man. It's nice to sit back and just listen uh, to a lot of the stuff that you lay out here. I agree with most of the stuff that you do say. There's things that, listen, it's like any normal human being. We don't have to agree on everything, but for the most part, I agree on a lot of topics that you touch on. I think Harris, if you guys thought it was neck and neck, I don't think it's that anymore. Just to end it on this topic, watching her go on to these 60-minute interviews and The View, uh, Howard Stern, Call Me Daddy. Like, I watched all these interviews and I'm like, holy crap! What? I don't know who pushed her out there, but they should literally be fired.
Yeah.
She cannot speak. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's literally told you that she claims everything that Biden has done. The funny part about it was, and I've seen this twice already, Biden has thrown her under the bus. I don't know if Biden's just pissed off at his own party. I'm sure he is. But the time that she was supposed to speak in Michigan, Biden goes for the first time into the press room,
Right.
cuts her off. Okay. When asked the question, she's been a part of making these decisions for the last 4 years. And then he says it again. And then when Governor Ron DeSantis says that she's never called me and she's talking crap about him, Biden comes out there and says, Governor DeSantis has done a great job in Florida. I've been in
Yeah.
contact with him and I've given him my personal number.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Talk about a riff. I don't think he likes her.
No,
I
because here's what happened. After the disastrous debate, which exposed that he is in mild to moderate cognitive decline, so he probably has
Yeah.
Parkinson's or dementia. After that debate, they all got together and said, you either abdicate to Harris or we're going to remove you with the 25th Amendment. So basically, he's bitter as fucking hell, but he just had to go along with it because what choice does he have? They staged a coup and basically told the sitting president of the United States that you are not allowed to run again, and we're going to pick the next person. I want to speak for a moment to the Democrats listening to you, okay? Say what you will about the orange man bad. Here's what, if you vote for Harris, what you are endorsing. You are saying you don't care about democracy. That's what you're saying. Your political party didn't let anybody participate in the nomination process but Biden. They stacked the deck. RFK tried. He was told, and everybody knew no one but Biden was going to win the nomination. Okay. Then your party, behind the scenes, took the nomination from Biden and handed it to a person who did not run and gave it to her. You didn't get a choice at all. So if you vote for Harris, what you're saying is it is totally okay with you that you have no say in moving forward in the people that you select. And instead, you're told this is your only option, Harris. Because in your heart of hearts as a Democrat, if it was 25 people and pick any 25 Democrats, any 25, AOC or Ilhan Omar or, Governor Shapiro or whatever, would you have picked out of those 25 Harris as your top 5 options? You already ran as Democrats this experiment in 2020 when Harris ran for president. She didn't come in number 2. She was damn near dead last. So are you really, really, really happy with all this? Honestly, do you want to endorse this? Do you want to say this is okay? Do you want to think that this party can get away with something like this? Is this really America? Is this really a constitutional republic? Really, honestly? And then please take the time to look into Tim Walz's relationship with China. Please. He's been there 30 times. The dude speaks Chinese. It's a very uncomfortable relationship with China. Please take the time to look into it. Don't look at right-wing media. Just objectively look at the statements, the relationship, the history there. There's a very uncomfortable relationship with this. Look at San Francisco when President Xi came and what they did to the city. They cleaned the whole thing up. The leadership of this party, the Democrat modern party, the big guys that run it, are really, really, really close to China. They really are. And look at Sinohawk and the relationships in the Biden family, these types of things. Your party is not really playing for the American people. It's playing for multinational corporations, and it has a lot of influence by the Chinese Communist Party. It really does. Dig into it. Please take the time. Don't take my word for it. You're going to find some very uncomfortable connections and relationships there. So if you vote for this, you're voting for a degradation of every American institution and the very notion of democracy as a whole. Okay. And January 6th, Trump is evil. Trump is evil. Oh my God. Oh my God. What do we do? What do we do? Here's the reality. He's a president. There are institutions. There's a Supreme Court. There's a Senate. There's a Congress. We're going to be okay. We lived 4 years under this. Okay. It's not going to be the death of America. It's not the end of America. All right. The dude is old. It's okay. But if you endorse the other side of it, that bureaucracy eventually is going to foment to an extent where you will not be able to vote anymore. And it's one mono party. It's a Politburo, and they're moving in this particular direction. And I've seen it, and it's getting very dystopian. There's a war on free speech. There's a war on free expression. Anybody who doesn't support this is being politically destroyed. There is lawfare. And you know what? You don't want to admit it, but look at the appellate judges over the lawsuit against Trump saying, we don't understand how this was even constitutional to bring against him. It's going to be overturned on appeal, what just happened. It's the same with the Stormy Daniels case. It's the same with the Jack Smith investigation. This is lawfare.
Yeah.
And you know what's going to happen is in 2025 and 2026, it'll all get reversed. But they did this to put the nominee in prison. Guys, even if Trump is elected, there's a non-zero possibility that before the end of November, as president-elect of the United States, he could be in a prison cell at Rikers Island because of what's happened in New York. That's an actual possibility. This is lawfare. We are arresting political opponents. We are weaponizing the legal system against political opponents. They're restricting free speech. They're arresting their political opponents. They're preventing you from participating in a Democrat process. They are controlling the flow of information through the consolidation of mainstream media. Look at the edited 60 Minutes interview as an example. Yep. They are engaging in 24/7 propaganda. There's a public-private partnership with trillion-dollar multinational companies working hand in glove with the U.S. government. They're weaponizing regulations to destroy anybody who's outside the club. Look at what they're doing against Elon Musk as an example. Boeing can kill people with their planes, and they can't even, get a spaceship back. But apparently, we're going to go after SpaceX for killing some birds, next to the launch site when 1 million birds die a year with the windmills. Okay, they're weaponizing the laws against all their people. If you vote for this, this will get so institutionalized, we cannot turn it back. Crypto is the escape valve. I don't care where politics go. It's how we get out of all of this madness. Right? And what are they doing? All of government approach to kill crypto or control crypto or co-opt crypto and hand it to BlackRock and Circle and Wall Street, and then basically replace all of the OG leaders and drive them out of the space and put in new people who have polished suits on and they work for Wall Street, right? And protocols that are highly centralized, controlled by 12 guys who have the governance keys, and they control the nodes and these types of things so that those people can be co-opted to do whatever the hell they want to do. That is what is happening right now. And come November, you have a choice to make, and really think about this stuff. And what they're going to try to do is get you so angry about stuff that doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Your money in your pocket matters. Your economic agency matters. Your freedom matters. Your choice and ability to participate in the political process matters. The rule of law in America matters. These are the things that really, really matter. Your ability to hold people accountable, hold the institutions accountable, to deconsolidate multi-trillion-dollar monopolies and break them up and make them decentralized. That's the stuff that really matters. And you got a coalition of people, a unity of people that are noticing from different lenses, whether it be public health or the business world or the political world, who are coming from the outside in saying, we're all victims in one way or another of what's been going on, and we just want it to stop. And then you have another group of people that have been charged for 12 of the last 16 years who created all this bureaucracy and are given $750 to storm victims in Florida and in North Carolina, but $200 billion to Ukraine. And they're telling you, give us more power, and we now pick the leaders too. You don't even get to do that. There's something wrong here, and think for yourself and take the time to kind of look through it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Breakdown, episode 497, joined by Charles. Charles, thank you so much. Honestly, by the way, freedom is everything. You know, I went into this, we've talked, and if you guys replay these shows, especially with me and Charles on them, talking about politics, you know, I mentioned a few months back, you know, one issue voters for crypto need to vote for Trump, right? Now, yesterday, I talked on Spaces and I said, okay, crypto, love crypto. Obviously, if you're a crypto guy or gal, I don't know how you don't vote for Trump, essentially, because he's been super pro crypto and he's been advocating for it. But the biggest thing to me now is freedom of speech. You hear Tim Walz come out there, you hear John Kerry come out there, you hear, you know, Kamala Harris come out there and talk about we need to change the Constitution. We need to take away the X platform from Elon. You know, we need to regulate hate speech. Who defines what hate speech is? You know, like all these things. If Kamala Harris does get elected as the president of the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen, my parents are from Eastern Europe, and I will tell you, you will not enjoy the next 4 years if that were to happen. These things could get passed, and your speech will be limited. Can you imagine the United States of America built on the First Amendment is slowly taken away, and people tell you exactly what you can and cannot say.
Right.
You guys don't even understand that concept yet. You will. And here's a little example. You remember COVID-19? Yeah, anybody who spoke against the narrative got shut down, banned, suspended, pushed to the side, called crazy, tinfoil hat, all that good stuff. And now you see the former heads of Twitter go to Congress and in front of Congress say that they were told by the government to make sure that that kind of information does not come onto those platforms.
Right.
Mark Zuckerberg came out and told you that he made a mistake by shutting down the other side of the fence, the conservatives, I would say, that were telling you that there's something wrong with these vaccines and they shouldn't be put into human beings. Not just yet. We haven't done enough research. But because the government came in and told them not to talk about these subjects, delete, suspend these accounts, that, my friends, was just a taste of what's to come if you do vote for Harris. I do believe that strongly. And you know what? Forget about just the First Amendment. Start thinking about your second, and then the third, and then the fourth. I don't know what amendments we'll be left with. And I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm not Alex Jones. I don't have a tinfoil hat on. But that is worrisome when the entire left, that entire liberal, you know what? I remember Democrats, Charles. I remember Democrats and Republicans used to get along and they used to get shit done.
Right.
Now, this is not what it was 20 years ago. This is if the Democrats win, I agree with Elon. Elon made this statement. If the Democrats win, he's fucked. He's going to jail. His platform will be taken away. This is what he believes. And we will never have a real election again.
Right. And you know, if you're on the left also, look at how many people are leaving the left. You know, Tulsi Gabbard is a great example of a moderate Democrat, and she should be in a Democrat administration. She's an incredibly articulate person, a lieutenant colonel, field medic who fought in Iraq. You know, she represented the people of Hawaii very competently and well. And she's an example of kind of new blood, new leadership that you'd need for your party. The fact that she was driven out, the fact that Robert Kennedy was driven out, a freaking Kennedy, whose uncle was the president, father was going to be the president before being assassinated, tells you how far gone this movement is. The left keeps reinventing itself, saying we are the mainstream and everything else is Nazis and alt-right. But then all these people who are used to be part of the left are starting to get radically pushed out. Joe Rogan is another example. You know, he believes in universal health care. It's not exactly a left-wing, a right-wing viewpoint. That's traditionally a left-wing viewpoint, right? With Bernie Sanders and Mike Gravel and all these other guys. Well, He's now apparently a alt-right crypto bro, and Joe's evil. Lex Friedman is evil because he interviewed Donald Trump, and he's a sympathizer with the evil people. And so you see all these people that are free-thinking people who are just there to get along with people, and now what's happened is they've become the enemy.
Correct.
That's what you see. That's what your parents and grandparents and other people saw on the communist side in Eastern Europe. Anyone who disagrees with the party line is evil and the enemy and must be punished.
Correct.
We have to criminalize all behavior and gulag all behavior that we do not agree with. And that's what they've been doing. And now they've weaponized the legal system for that. We have to not reward this. We just can't as a society. We have to move on. And I'm not telling people vote for Trump, but I'm saying if you vote for Harris, this is what you're endorsing. You're endorsing this particular political philosophy, and it's an incredibly dangerous philosophy. And every time we've, in human history, ever gone down this road, we have descended in totalitarianism. We have descended into a dictatorship. We have lost our freedoms as human beings, and we no longer live in peace. We live in fear. We live in fear of offending people. We live in fear of our expressing ourselves. We live in fear of being arrested for just being free society, practicing our faith. And then we're told that we no longer have control over our bodies. The whole COVID thing was a great example of that, where they said we have to force vaccinate everybody in society. And they go, oh, we didn't do that. Oh, okay. So it's consensual if I tell you that you can't travel, you can't go to public places, you will lose your job, you can't go to school, your children can't go to school. It's grounds for your children being taken away from you. That's consensual. Put
Correct.
anything else. Hey, Sally, will you go on a date with me? No. Well, I'm just going to fire you then. That's like the textbook example for sexual harassment in every single training in the world. But when we do it with vaccines, in this case, a vaccine that only had 6 months of testing when normally they take 20 years, apparently that's okay as a society. Why? Because the government owns your body. That's what they're basically saying. Okay, and if they own your body on that topic, well, can't they do anything else? Where does it stop? Public health. Where does it stop? There's no constitutional line for it to stop, according to these guys. This is the belief of this party right now. They own your soul, they own your body, they own your mind, they own your freedom of expression. They will tell you what you are allowed to think, say, and do. They will tell you what's okay and what's not okay. And they'll tell you how much money you're allowed to make, what property you're allowed to own. Wealth tax and a tax on unrealized capital gains. What does that mean? There's no privacy in America. For that to work, the government has to know everything you own, every single item you own. And then it tracks all of that and makes a decision what you owe at the end of the year. So you're renting it from the government, and you got to give some of it back. Property rights are gone forever when you embrace this. Oh, but it's only for the rich people. But once that apparatus is in place, every American loses all privacy. Because how do we know when you go from rich to not rich and vice versa? Well, we don't. So we have to register everything. And then at some point, we make a decision when we start taking your stuff back. So your property rights are gone. Your freedom of expression is gone. The ownership of your body is gone. Your political rights are gone. Your constitutional rights are gone. You don't pick your leaders anymore. The media is completely controlled. So if you discover a problem, the media won't report it and they'll arrest you because there's no rule of law anymore. This is literally what these people have done. And then it's Kafkaesque. We see it in cryptocurrency regulation. Come in and register. Coinbase. Okay, we'll come in and register. We have broker-dealer licenses. Tell us what to do. 2 years of silence, Wells notice. And then they go to Congress and they say, why did you do that? We don't understand why people aren't complying with the law. They just need to come in and register. What about Coinbase? Can't comment on that. That is who these people are. And this is how they think. And no one is above it. Biden is part of the system. He's running the whole thing. And then people show up in the middle of the night and say, sorry, Joe, you got to go. What? I'm the president. You can't do this. Yeah, actually, we can. Harris is now in. You're gone now, Joe. And he's so angry about it, but what the fuck can he do? They'll kill him if he speaks out. So he does the passive stuff. He wears the MAGA hat. and he holds the press conference and these types
Yeah.
of, just to kind of let people know, like, what's going on is not the America I was born into, and it's a very different place. These people are above the law. They say no one is above the law. Oh, they're above the law, right? Because they make the laws and they decide where the laws get applied. These people pick the leaders. And you know what? They're following the same cloth as the globalists with China and the rest of these gangs. They all meet in their little fucking transnational meetings. They make a decision where the whole world needs to go, and they steer a narrative in this direction. So come November, that's your decision. If you want this and that's where you want to go in society and life, vote for it. At least say you own it. Because you know what? You don't get to take it back. You own that, okay? You really
Right.
do. You can't take it back. Really go into this with both eyes open and say, I believe in these things. And I want these things. I want to live in a world where everything from cradle to grave is controlled by someone I've never met. And at any given moment, I can be basically made disappeared, just like Jack Ma in China. But if you don't want these things, then don't vote for these things. This is the last time you're really going to have a choice in the matter. It really is. So make your decision in November, and then we'll just figure it out as a society, I guess.
Honestly, I got to clap for that. If you're not listening, I hope this gets clipped up. I hope the last part just now by you gets clipped up and it gets thrown out onto the internet. Not just for crypto people, but for every person that is in the United States of America. You don't understand how crucial this election is. I agree with you. Just look at both candidates and understand what they're trying to do. That's it. Look at Harris very closely. On that note, Charles, thank you so much for
Got to
joining.
get
I'll
going.
see you in 2 weeks, right? You'll
Yes,
probably
sir.
be traveling, but I can't wait to go ahead and chat with you again. Obviously, we'll be closer to the election. Well, we'll be 15 or 18 somewhat days away from the election. And God bless America. That's all I could say. God bless America, guys. Make the right choice, man. Our freedom's at stake, man. So let that marinate for you, Charles. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, man.
Thank you so much, David. Pleasure as always. Cheers.
That's Charles. I love Charles. We get to go ahead and chat it up every single Thursday. Well, not every single Thursday, but every other Thursday we talk about. Obviously, we talk about crypto. We talk about politics. This is a very, to me, this is a very scary time. It is a very scary time um, in America. It is. I've been thinking about this for a week or two now. Ever since you have a lot of Democrats going out there and talking about changing the First Amendment, and pushing the narrative that if you don't agree with what the left has to say, then it becomes hate speech. And who defines what hate speech really is? You know, that is very scary. It's scary for our country. It really is. And I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're a Republican, but I agree with Charles here. You need to sit back and you really need to look at both candidates. I understand that I understand that a lot of people don't like Trump. I don't want to say a lot of people. I can understand people looking at Trump and not liking the way he presents or says certain things. But that doesn't mean that he can't run a country, because he's shown that when he was president, the 45th president of the United States of America, he's shown you that he can run a country. Was everything perfect? No, but most of it was good. Nothing's ever going to be 100%. People, we are human beings, we will make mistakes. But, you know, for months we've been talking about if you're a one issue voter and you love crypto, then you're probably going to embrace Trump, right? If you are in crypto, particularly in crypto, you're going to embrace Trump. But now the subject has gone way past crypto. For me, at least, it's no longer about crypto. It's about the First Amendment. When John Kerry said that they need to, or once Kamala wins, we can adjust the First Amendment. That, ladies and gentlemen, is scary. They will define what can be said and what can be said. We saw that. We saw that happen. We had an example. We had a taste of what it was like to live in a socialistic environment where if you said anything that did not match their narrative, you were completely shut down. I'm not making this up. This is out there, ladies and gentlemen. Facebook, Twitter, two of the biggest platforms, Instagram, let's not forget also. Anytime anybody talked about COVID, and in a way where it did not benefit having vaccines going into people's bodies, they shut those people down. If you said anything that contradicted their position, shut down. They are literally telling you, Kamala Harris has gone out there and stated that they need to tighten up social media. They need to look at social media and have it moderated. Mark Zuckerberg came out and literally wrote a letter. Besides writing a letter, came on video multiple times stating that he went about it the wrong way. He didn't allow conservatives to express their opinions. Twitter was caught in Congress during hearings stating that the government and government officials would call them to make sure these subjects were not visible to the people of the United States and the world. Not just the United States of America, but the entire world. You guys are you guys are not seeing things correctly. This is not I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat type of thing going on right now. This is guys, man, you vote for fucking Kamala Harris, you're fucked. How about that? I'm gonna just say it like that. And you know what? Elon said something that really struck me. Elon said that if Kamala Harris wins, that he is fucked. He is literally fucked. He's probably going to prison. They will take away the X platform. And he doesn't know the next time he'll see his kids. That's exactly what he said. We are talking about one of the greatest innovators of our time who has brought us the electric vehicle, whether you like it or not. He has created Tesla. He has created SpaceX, the same SpaceX that is now geared up to save the people, the two astronauts that are stuck in the International Space Station because Boeing failed again. He is now tasked to go up there and save them, which he will. He has done so much for us. And here we are attacking another man that went against the narrative, against the agenda that is set forward by BlackRock and the entire army of elites that hide behind the scenes. We have attacked anybody who but they have attacked anybody that they can't control. Trump, they attack Trump because they can't control him. Trump cannot be controlled. That's why they attack him. Same thing with Elon. Mark Zuckerberg's next. Hey, if you're a diehard Democrat, God bless you, man. There are people that love socialism. So God bless you. God bless you. I hope you're thinking this out, right? I really do. It's not about the party, it's about the land. I pray to God I really do. I pray to God that Trump wins. Because we need to, it's funny. He said the United Party, and I kind of agree. You have Democrats and Republicans all bundled up in one, fighting for our freedom. Fighting for our freedom. Why does Elon even need this, by the way? Elon is the richest man in the world on the books, the richest man on the planet. And here he is out there. He doesn't need to do this, but he's out there fighting for our freedom. And you guys don't understand that. You think that, oh, this is just some ploy. You don't understand the repercussions if Kamala were to win in November. You do not understand the repercussions that Elon faces. This is not something that I'm sure Elon took lightly when making this decision. He's put everything on the line. Think about that. Anybody who is talking about voting for Trump has put everything on the line, including myself. I thought about that I thought about that 2 days ago. I talk about Trump. I talk about how we must go ahead and elect Trump. Come November, if Harris wins, who knows what happens? Maybe my entire media company gets taken away. Maybe I get banned. Maybe I don't know what happens. I'm being dead serious. I'm not even joking around. I don't know what happens. I'm going against the narrative, man. And so are a lot of people. And I've seen what they've done in Russia, too. Anybody who goes against the party gets locked up and thrown away, and you never hear from them ever again. And if you've grown up in the United States of America, you won't ever understand this. Outside of the United States of America, you will understand this. Most people who grew up, I was born here, but if your family is from Eastern Europe, they know what happens when you go against the machine. They lock you up for good. Done. And nobody will say anything because they'll get locked up. Russia was throwing people into prison for just putting up a blank poster. They were arresting 93-year-old women that were protesting the war against Ukraine. You do not understand what is happening. Everybody thinks it's a joke because, hey, don't worry, we'll survive. No. Welcome to the Breakdown, episode 497. Sponsored by Gemini, the good folks at Gemini. Click the link. Get $100 in Bitcoin after trading $1,000 in crypto. Love the good people in Gemini. Really do. G Media, we're fucking growing. Shout out to the content creators that are making clips and reporting news every single day. Mr. Dude, Julie, Big Sace, myself. We're out here creating, reporting on the news. Love to see it. More to come. More content creators are coming on board G Media, and they're creating content. Support a real movement. Bootstrap. No VCs. Nobody telling us what to say. Support a real movement. We appreciate you guys. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in. We're back. I had to take a little time off just because I had to reorganize myself. And now I'm back. Catch me on TikTok for my political views. But catch me on X, formerly known as Twitter, talking about everything that's important. Man. I really thought about this. I really, it wasn't even just Charles. I really thought about the entire situation I really thought about, what happens if Kamala's approved. I thought about what really happens if Kamala Harris, gets elected. We had 4 years of this, and you can see the change in society. You can really see the shift. The shift has happened. And if you bring her in, does anybody care about the First Amendment? Does anybody care about the First Amendment? Does anybody care about our rights as human beings here in the United States of America? Before I would say, hey, you have the House and you have the Senate. No worries who's elected, but I am worried. I'm worried that the entire left will control both the House and the Senate. And that means that they will change the rules, and that a conservative will never be elected again, at least into the Oval Office. And it will lead into a dictatorship. I really believe that. I really do believe that. Crypto, though, is our lifeline. I agree with Charles on that. Crypto is the lifeline. God bless you guys. I'm going to go make clips today to post out there. God bless America, man. I don't want to make this into a really fucking, depressing ass conversation, but this is real, man. This is fucking really real. On that note, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys again. Sponsored by Gemini, episode 497, powered by G Media. You know how it gets down. I'll see you tomorrow, man. We'll have a guest on. We'll be talking about, I think we're going to go hard into politics. Not a lot of days left. We need to get everybody registered to vote. By the way, my prayers go out to anybody affected by Hurricane Helene. My prayers go out to anybody who was affected by the hurricane that hit Florida last night. I'm so happy that Lieutenant Dan survived. That guy's a crazy son of a bitch. That guy stayed in his boat and he rode out the storm, man. I gotta tell you, that is one crazy son of a bitch, but thank God he's alive. Guys, be good to each other. On that note, if I can find the goddamn thing, I am out.